Hello, my beautiful friends. This is Dr. Cristopher Gardner, and today I need to have a very important conversation with you. If you're over 50, 60, or even 70, this video may literally save your life. We've been told for years that fish is healthy, omega-3s, lean protein, low in fat. Sounds great, right? But what if I told you that some fish are destroying your health from the inside out? Fish contaminated with mercury, loaded with harmful chemicals, raising your risk for heart disease, dementia, and even cancer. In this video, I'm going to reveal 6 fish you must never eat, especially as an older adult. Not occasionally, not in moderation, never. So please stay with me till the end because your health, your brain, your heart, and your future may depend on it. My dear friends, I want to have a very real and very important conversation with you today, especially those of you who are over the age of 60, 70, or even 80. I want to talk to you about something that could be quietly damaging your health every time you sit down to eat. We've been told our whole lives that fish is a healthy choice, and in many cases it is. It's lean, high in protein, rich in omega-3 fatty acids that support your heart and brain. But here's the truth, not all fish are safe, and certainly not for older adults. Some fish, especially the ones that are large, live long lives, and eat other fish, accumulate high levels of a metal you've heard of, mercury. This isn't the kind of thing we can overlook. This is serious. Let me explain. Mercury is a naturally occurring heavy metal found in air, water, and soil. But in recent decades, industrial pollution has caused dangerously high mercury levels to end up in our oceans and lakes. When mercury enters water, bacteria convert it into methylmercury, a highly toxic compound that builds up in fish. And here sits where the danger begins. Smaller fish absorb mercury from their environment. Larger fish eat those smaller fish. Then even bigger fish eat them. This process is called bioaccumulation. Over time, predator fish like tilefish, swordfish, and king mackerel store massive amounts of mercury in their tissues, and when you eat them, you're ingesting that mercury too. But here's the most important part. Your body can't get rid of mercury easily. Once it's inside you, it can stay there for weeks, months, even years. It builds up in your organs, especially your brain, kidneys, and nervous system. Now, I want you to really understand what that means, especially if you're over 60. As we age, our bodies don't function like they used to. Our liver detoxification slows down, our kidney function declines, and our brain cells become more sensitive to inflammation and damage. So, while a young, healthy person might tolerate small amounts of mercury, you may not. Let's take tilefish as an example. It's one of the worst offenders, with mercury levels so high that even the FDA advises pregnant women to avoid it completely. But let me ask you, why should a 65-year-old with a heart condition or early signs of memory loss be exposed to something a pregnant woman can't even touch? The answer is you shouldn't be. High mercury fish can quietly cause neurological symptoms that many people mistake for normal aging: brain fog, mood swings, difficulty sleeping, hand tremors, weakness in your legs. You might blame it on stress or getting older, but what if part of the problem is sitting on your dinner plate? Mercury doesn't just affect the brain. It also harms your cardiovascular system. It promotes oxidative stress, which can stiffen arteries, raise blood pressure, and increase your risk of heart attacks and strokes. I've seen patients eating healthy fish once or twice a week, not realizing they were poisoning themselves slowly. And friends, mercury also targets the kidneys. For seniors who are already dealing with reduced kidney function, high blood pressure, or diabetes, this is a serious risk. Mercury damages the tubules of the kidney, the part responsible for filtering your blood. Over time, this can lead to chronic kidney disease, and in severe cases, even dialysis. You deserve better than that. Now I know what some of you are thinking, but Dr. Gardner, I only eat these fish occasionally. Let me be clear, with mercury, even occasional exposure can have long-term consequences, especially if you're already vulnerable. 1 or 2 servings of swordfish or king mackerel can exceed the weekly safe limit of mercury by a wide margin. And remember, the mercury stays in your system. Let's talk about swordfish. It's often featured on restaurant menus as a gourmet, heart-healthy meal. It tastes rich, it looks beautiful, and many seniors enjoy it because it's easy to chew and high in protein. But swordfish are apex predators, which means they sit at the top of the food chain. They've had years to accumulate mercury from everything they've eaten. A single 6-ounce serving of swordfish can contain up to 1.0 ppm parts per million of mercury, which is nearly 3 times the EPA's safe limit. That sips the not nutrition, that sips exposure. King mackerel is another major offender, and here's where it gets even trickier. It often gets lumped in with other kinds of mackerel that are much safer. So when people see mackerel at the store, they assume it's all good, but Atlantic mackerel is low in mercury, while king mackerel is extremely high. Knowing the difference can protect your brain, your kidneys, and your future. I've had patients, bright, active seniors, come in complaining about memory lapses, anxiety, or joint pain. Their lab tests were clean, their MRI was fine, but when we dug deeper into their diet, guess what we found? A pattern of high mercury fish consumption. When they cut out those fish, many of their symptoms improved in just a few months. That's not coincidence. That's science. So what do we do about it? We stay informed. We make smarter choices. We choose fish that are low in mercury and high in nutrients. Sardines, anchovies, wild-caught salmon, U.S. farmed trout, Pacific cod. These are the fish that give you the benefits without the toxins. And most importantly, we educate our families and communities because this isn't just about avoiding a bad meal. It's about preserving your independence, protecting your brain, and giving yourself the energy to enjoy your golden years with clarity and vitality. Friends, you've worked too hard to be sidelined by something as preventable as mercury poisoning. This isn't about fear, it's about empowerment. The food you eat can either age you or heal you. That choice is yours. So the next time you stir at the market or reading a restaurant menu, I want you to remember this conversation. I want you to pause, ask yourself, is this fish helping me live longer or quietly hurting me? And if there's any doubt, choose something safer. You are not too old to change your habits. In fact, now is exactly the right time to make a change. Your future self will thank you. Your family will thank you, and your body will respond in ways you didn't think were possible. Stay strong, stay smart, and never stop learning. This is Dr. Cristopher Gardner, and I'm proud of you for taking your health into your own hands. My wonderful friends, if no one's told you this recently, I want you to know that your health still matters. It matters whether you're 60, 70, 80, or even 90 years old. It's not too late to make changes, and what you put on your plate right now can shape the way you feel tomorrow, next month, and for years to come. I need to talk to you today about something that's deceptively dangerous, something that's often promoted as healthy, heart-friendly, and rich in protein, but in reality could be sabotaging your health without you even knowing it. That something is farmed and imported fish. Now, I want to be very clear, not all farmed fish are bad, but many of them are, especially those raised overseas or in poorly regulated facilities. And if you're over the age of 60, your body is more vulnerable to the very problems these fish can cause. Let's start with farmed salmon, one of the most popular seafood items in America today. It's affordable, it's fatty, it looks healthy, it's often labeled as a smart choice in supermarkets. But the truth is, most of the salmon in stores today is not wild. It's farmed in giant underwater pens, often in polluted waters off the coast of countries with little to no regulation. These pens are so overcrowded that diseases spread rapidly among the fish. To prevent infection, the fish are pumped full of antibiotics, many of which are banned in countries like the United States due to their links to liver damage, gut disruption, and antibiotic resistance. But that's not all. Farmed salmon are often fed a high-fat, high-protein grain-based diet, not the natural marine diet of wild salmon. These grains are sometimes genetically modified and loaded with pesticides which make their way into the fish's flesh. And because farmed salmon don't eat the krill and shrimp that give wild salmon their natural pink-orange color, they're often given synthetic colorants to make their meat look more appealing. You're not just eating fish, you're eating a chemically engineered product. Now here sits what this means for older adults. First, let's talk about inflammation. Chronic inflammation is one of the silent drivers behind nearly every disease of aging, including arthritis, Alzheimer's, diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. Farmed salmon, due to its unnatural feed and higher levels of omega-6 fatty acids, can increase inflammation, not reduce it like wild salmon does. So instead of protecting your heart, farmed salmon may be quietly making things worse. Second, let's talk about toxins. Farmed salmon has been shown to contain 5 to 10 times more PCBs, polychlorinated biphenyls, than wild salmon. PCBs are industrial chemicals that have been banned in many countries because they are linked to cancer, endocrine disruption, immune system damage, and neurological problems. PCBs don't just vanish from your body. They're stored in your fat tissue and build up over time, especially when your liver and kidneys are no longer functioning at peak capacity. And as we age, that's exactly what happens. These toxins accumulate, leading to fatigue, hormone imbalances, memory issues, and increased disease risk. Friends, your brain is especially sensitive to these toxins. PCBs can cross the blood-brain barrier, causing oxidative stress and damaging the neurons responsible for memory, mood, and cognitive function. If you're struggling with forgetfulness, low energy, or brain fog, and you eat farmed fish regularly, that could be one of the culprits. Now let's look beyond salmon. Imported catfish, particularly those from countries like Vietnam, China, and Thailand, are another major concern. These fish are often raised in polluted rivers and ponds. The water is sometimes contaminated with heavy metals, bacteria, and even sewage. To keep the fish alive in these unsanitary conditions, producers often resort to using illegal antibiotics and antifungal agents, some of which are known carcinogens. These fish are then frozen, packaged, and exported by the ton to American supermarkets, where they're labeled simply as catfish or swai or besa. The packaging doesn't mention the chemical treatments or water quality. Most shoppers have no idea what they're buying. I've looked into the data. Studies by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and independent labs have found traces of malachite green, a toxic dye and antifungal banned in the U.S., in imported catfish. This substance has been linked to cancer, liver toxicity, and reproductive damage. And again, older adults are at greater risk because their immune systems and detox organs are less efficient. What I'm trying to tell you is this: you may be trying to do something good for your health, eating more fish and less red meat. And I applaud that intention. But the source of your fish matters immensely. When fish is raised in dirty water, fed chemicals, and pumped full of antibiotics, it is no longer a health food. It becomes a toxic exposure, and over time, those exposures add up. Think of it like this: every forkful is either building you up or breaking you down. This is especially important for those of you dealing with existing health concerns. If you have high blood pressure, diabetes, kidney issues, cognitive decline, joint pain, these fish can amplify the damage. They can tip your body from balance into breakdown. But here's the good news: once you become aware of these risks, you can take action immediately. You can look for labels like wild-caught, U.S. farm-raised, or sustainably sourced. You can avoid ambiguous terms like fresh seafood when no country of origin is listed. You can ask your fishmonger, where is this from? Is it wild or farmed? Don't be shy. This is your health on the line. And you can choose safer alternatives. Fish that are naturally low in toxins and rich in beneficial nutrients. Sardines, anchovies, wild Pacific salmon, U.S. rainbow trout, and mackerel, not king, are all excellent options. They provide omega-3s without the chemicals. I want to remind you, your body is always listening. It's always responding to what you feed it. When you give it clean, wholesome food, your body rewards you with better energy, clearer thinking, improved mood, stronger immunity, and even slower aging. You deserve that. Not just because you're trying to be healthy, but because you've lived long enough to know the value of health. The simple joy of walking without pain, remembering your grandchild's birthday, cooking a meal without fatigue, sleeping soundly through the night, waking up with energy. That's what clean eating supports. So today, I want you to walk away with this one truth: not all fish are created equal. You must look beyond the label. You must protect yourself. You must stay informed, not out of fear, but out of respect for your body and your future. You are not too old to make changes. You're right on time. And I'll be right here with you, cheering you on every step of the way. My dear friends, I want to share something with you today that very few people talk about, but everyone should know, especially those of us over the age of 60. You see, we're often told to eat fish for our heart, our brain, and our muscles, and that's mostly true. Fish can be incredibly healthy, but here's what's rarely explained. Some fish are ticking time bombs. They may look fresh, smell clean, and be served at fancy restaurants, but inside, they're carrying decades of toxic baggage, and when you eat them, you're absorbing every bit of it. Now, let's break this down together. Some fish live short lives, just a few years, and spend their time feeding on algae or plankton. These fish are typically small, fast-growing, and low in toxins. But then there are the giants of the sea, the long-living, top-of-the-food chain predators. Fish like orange roughy, swordfish, shark, and even some kinds of tuna. These fish don't live for 5 or 10 years. No, they live for decades, even over a century. For example, orange roughy can live up to 150 years. That's right, the fish on your plate might have been swimming around before your grandparents were born. Now, I want you to really think about what that means. If a fish lives for 150 years in polluted waters, what do you think happens to everything it absorbs? The mercury, the lead, the arsenic, the PCBs, the dioxins. Do you think it gets flushed out? No, it accumulates. Day after day, year after year, decade after decade. This process is called bioaccumulation, and it is one of the most dangerous yet most overlooked aspects of seafood safety, especially for older adults. Bioaccumulation means toxins build up in a creature's fat and muscle tissue faster than the body can remove them. And when you eat that creature, whether it's a long-living fish or a predator like a shark, those chemicals are passed directly into your body. You don't taste the mercury, you don't smell the PCBs, but they're there, and they don't disappear once they're inside you. Now, this is where I want to talk directly to you, my fellow seniors, my beautiful, strong, resilient community. As we age, our bodies change, our detox pathways slow down, our liver doesn't filter as efficiently, our kidneys may have some wear and tear, our immune system isn't as sharp. That means when you're exposed to these toxins, whether it's through food, air, or water, your body holds onto them longer, and the effects hit harder. So let's take a fish like orange roughy. It's white, flaky, and sold as a delicate option in restaurants and grocery stores. But what most people don't know is that orange roughy has one of the highest mercury concentrations of any fish commonly sold for food. Now remember, mercury is a neurotoxin. That means it damages your brain, your nerves, and your cognition. It causes memory problems, fatigue, tremors, sleep disruption, and even mood swings. Many seniors chalk these symptoms up to just getting older, but in many cases there are actually signs of mercury toxicity, the silent kind, the creeping kind. I've had patients come in feeling confused, slow, emotionally flat. Their labs looked fine. Their heart was okay. But when we reviewed their diet, I noticed a pattern: regular consumption of swordfish, tuna steaks, or orange roughy. We ran a hair test for heavy metals, and there it was, elevated mercury, sometimes off the charts. We removed the high mercury fish from their diet. We supported their liver and kidneys with hydration, antioxidant-rich foods, and safe supplementation. And guess what? Within 60 to 90 days, they started feeling clearer, lighter, and more alive. That sips the power of awareness. Let's talk about PCBs now, polychlorinated biphenyls. These are industrial chemicals banned in the US since the 1970s, but they persist in our oceans and lakes to this day. PCBs are known to cause endocrine disruption, meaning they interfere with your hormones. They've been linked to thyroid issues, breast and prostate cancer, immune dysfunction, and obesity. Long-living fish, especially those that swim near the bottom like orange roughy or tilefish, accumulate PCBs in large amounts. Again, they don't break them down, they store them, and then we eat them. If you're sure dealing with hormonal imbalances such as sudden weight gain, hot flashes, cold sensitivity, depression, or fatigue, you may want to ask yourself, what kind of fish am I eating and how long did it live? Older adults are also more prone to cardiovascular issues, and here's the heartbreaking irony. Many people eat fish like swordfish or tuna steaks thinking they're protecting their heart, But high-toxin fish can do the opposite. They increase oxidative stress, stiffen arteries, and damage the inner lining of blood vessels. Over time, this raises the risk for heart attacks, strokes, and blood pressure problems. Now, I'm not saying stop eating fish. Fish can be one of the most healing foods in the world if you choose the right kind. The key is to stick with fish that are small, fast-growing, low on the food chain, short-lived. These fish don't have time to accumulate the same levels of toxins. Think about sardines, anchovies, wild-caught Alaskan salmon, Pacific cod, and U.S. farm-raised trout. These are fish that are low in mercury, low in PCBs, and high in omega-3 fatty acids, which support brain health, heart function, and anti-inflammatory responses. I always say this to my patients, Donset, just eat fish. Eat fish that loves you back. Because that's what food is supposed to do, support you, nourish you, and help you thrive. The long-living predators of the sea, they're survivors, yes, but they're not clean. Their flesh is a journal of every toxin they've ever encountered. And when you eat that, especially as a senior, your body pays the price. So, what can you do? First, read labels. Look for wild-caught, and always ask your fishmonger or grocer what species of fish you're buying and where it comes from. Second, avoid the big ones: shark, swordfish, tilefish, king mackerel, orange roughy, and big-eye tuna. These are high risk, especially for seniors. Third, rotate your proteins. Add in eggs, lentils, nuts, and clean poultry. Don't rely on one food source for everything. And finally, trust your body. If you're feeling slower, foggier, or more tired than usual, take a look at your diet. Sometimes the simplest changes make the biggest difference. You deserve to feel vibrant. You deserve to think clearly. You deserve to age with strength and peace of mind. And you don't have to accept decline as inevitable. The food you eat is either adding to your future or subtracting from it. My dear friends, I want you to pause for just a moment and think about this truth. Our bodies are wise, complex, and incredibly resilient. They've carried us through decades of challenges, growth, heartbreak, joy, and healing. But as we get older, we also have to acknowledge that our bodies change. And with those changes come new responsibilities. Responsibilities that can protect our health or quietly steal it from us, one bite at a time. Let's talk today about something many doctors never explain, but that you deserve to know. As we age, we become more vulnerable to the harmful effects of environmental toxins, especially from contaminated fish. Now, we've already talked about mercury, PCBs, dioxins, and other harmful compounds found in certain long-living or farmed fish. But today, we're focusing on you, your body, your biology, and why older adults are less equipped to handle toxic exposure. This is critical knowledge, because you may be eating fish thinking you're doing something great for your heart, your brain, your joints, but if you're choosing the wrong fish, the very opposite may be happening. And the damage? It's subtle, it's slow, it creeps in without loud warning signs, until one day you wake up feeling off, and you don't know why. Let me explain. When you're in your 20s or 30s, your body is like a high-efficiency filtration system. Your liver and kidneys are working at full speed. Your cellular repair mechanisms are sharp. Your antioxidant reserves are strong. Your immune system responds quickly, and inflammation is kept in check. So when you're exposed to a small amount of toxin, like trace mercury or pesticide residue, your body identifies it, neutralizes it, and eliminates it. But as you enter your 50s, 60s, and beyond, everything slows down. And this is perfectly natural. It's not a disease. It's a part of the human experience. Your liver doesn't detoxify as efficiently. Your kidneys don't filter as thoroughly. Your gut microbiome changes. Your immune system becomes less coordinated. And perhaps most importantly, your cells become more sensitive to damage from heavy metals and oxidative stress. So what happens when a 70-year-old eats a serving of swordfish? That fish may contain 1,000 micrograms or more of mercury, far above the recommended safe limit for the week. A younger body might process some of it and eliminate it over time, but your body, it's more likely to store it in your fat tissue, your brain, your organs, and it stays there. Mercury is not like sugar or salt. that you simply pee out. It binds tightly to proteins in the body, particularly in the brain and nervous system. That's why the earliest symptoms of mercury toxicity often mimic age-related decline, brain fog, poor memory, slow thinking, tingling in the hands or feet, and even depression. These aren't just coincidences, these are red flags. The same is true with PCBs and dioxins, which are often found in farmed fish or long-living species like orange roughy and king mackerel. These toxins disrupt hormones, interfere with thyroid function, and weaken the immune system. In older adults, this is a recipe for fatigue, weight gain, poor sleep, immune suppression, and cancer risk. Let's not forget the kidneys. As we age, kidney function naturally declines. Your kidneys filter around 50 gallons of blood per day, removing waste and maintaining balance. But when heavy metals like cadmium, lead, or mercury are present in the bloodstream, especially from contaminated seafood, they damage the tiny filtering units inside the kidneys called nephrons. And here's the heartbreaking part. Those nephrons don't regenerate. Once they're damaged, they're gone for good. So if you're an older adult already living with diabetes, high blood pressure, or mild chronic kidney disease, toxic fish can quietly push you closer to renal failure and ultimately dialysis. This isn't fear-mongering, this is fact. You see, the problem isn't just exposure, it's accumulation. That's what makes older adults more susceptible. Our bodies carry a lifetime of exposures, pesticides from the food we ate in the 1960s, lead from old pipes, smog from city living. Add high mercury fish on top of that, now you've got a burden the body can't keep up with. And yet, the irony is heartbreaking. Older adults are often told to eat more fish for their omega-3s, for their protein, for their heart health, but no one warns them which fish to avoid. My friends, I want you to understand something deeply. Your body is not broken. It is still capable of healing, repairing, and thriving, but it needs help. It needs you to be discerning, to say, I will no longer feed myself foods that make me sicker, to draw the line, to protect the vessel that's carried you this far. You might be wondering, is it too late to make a change? And my answer always is a resounding no. The human body is incredibly forgiving. Studies show that when people remove mercury-containing fish from their diets, their blood levels of mercury drop significantly in just a few months. The fog lifts, the energy returns, blood pressure improves, inflammation cools down. I've seen it firsthand in patients who are suffering from what looked like early Alzheimer's or chronic fatigue, only to find that when they stopped eating farmed salmon or tuna steaks every week, their symptoms improved dramatically. That's not a miracle. That's simply what happens when we stop adding fuel to the fire. So what do you do with this knowledge? You become proactive. You learn to choose fish that are low in mercury, low in PCBs, short-lived and small, wild-caught from clean waters. Great options include wild Alaskan salmon, sardines, anchovies, U.S. rainbow trout, Pacific cod. And just as important, you learn to ask questions. When dining out, ask your server, is this wild-caught? Do you know where it's from? When shopping, look at the label. If it says farm-raised in China or product of Vietnam, put it back. This is about more than fish. This is about honoring your health. It's about recognizing that your body is still listening even after all these years, and what you feed it still matters. So my beautiful, wise, and capable friends, I want to leave you with this. You are not fragile. You are not too old, but you are worthy of protection. And that starts with making choices that respect the strength and sensitivity of your body, not just when you were young, but especially now. My beautiful friends, I want to shift our focus now from danger to empowerment. We've talked about the fish you should avoid, those filled with mercury, chemicals, and toxins. We've spoken openly about how some seafood, despite being praised as healthy, can quietly rob you of your energy, clarity, and vitality as you age. But today, I want to show you the other side, because this isn't just about what not to eat, it's about what you can and should eat to nourish your body, protect your brain, strengthen your heart, and extend your life with strength and purpose. You see, not all fish are created equal. There are fish, Clean, powerful, nutrient-dense fish that truly support your health, especially in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. These fish are low in mercury, rich in omega-3s, and naturally anti-inflammatory. They don't just taste good, they work with your body, not against it. And today, I want to introduce you to them. Let's start with one of my absolute favorites, wild-caught Alaskan salmon. Now, I'm not talking about farmed salmon. We've covered how those are fed artificial diets, raised in polluted pens, and pumped full of antibiotics and colorants. I'm talking about true wild salmon caught in the cold, clean waters of Alaska. Wild salmon are naturally low in toxins and high in EPA and DHA, the two omega-3 fatty acids that fuel your brain, protect your heart, and reduce systemic inflammation. Let me tell you something powerful. Studies show that just 2 servings of wild salmon per week can lower your risk of cardiovascular disease by over 25%. That's a prescription with no side effects. But there's more. Wild salmon is also rich in astaxanthin, a naturally occurring antioxidant that gives the flesh its beautiful reddish hue. Astaxanthin has been shown to improve eye health, reduce oxidative stress, and even boost skin elasticity, something we all care about more than we admit, even as we age. And the protein? Clean, complete, and highly digestible, supporting your muscle mass, joint repair, and immune function. So when you're standing in the grocery aisle and you see a package labeled wild-caught Alaskan salmon, smile, because that's one of the best choices you can make for your health at any age. Now let's talk about a tiny fish with a mighty reputation. Sardines. Some people turn up their nose at sardines, but let me tell you, these little fish are one of the most underrated superfoods on the planet. Sardines are low on the food chain, which means they live short lives and don't accumulate toxins like the big predator fish. They're naturally low in mercury and high in omega-3s, vitamin D, calcium, and coenzyme Q10, all nutrients that become more crucial as we age. CoQ10 in particular supports cellular energy production, especially in the heart, and calcium and vitamin D, essential for bone health, reducing your risk of fractures and osteoporosis. You can buy sardines packed in olive oil, water, or even tomato sauce. Just read the label and avoid added sodium or processed oils. Put them on crackers, mix them into salads, or eat them straight with lemon and herbs. Once you get used to them, you'll wonder why you waited so long. Next up, anchovies. Yes, another small fish, and yes, another powerhouse. Anchovies are rich in omega-3 saturin protein, just like sardines, and they're incredibly flavorful. A small amount goes a long way. What makes anchovies so powerful for older adults is not just the nutrients, it's the low toxin load. These fish are practically free of mercury. That means you can enjoy them regularly without worrying about long-term accumulation. Use them in salads, blend them into homemade dressings, or melt them into olive oil for a deeply rich, savory base to soups and stews. They nourish your body and delight your taste buds. Let's move to something more familiar, Pacific cod. Cod is a white, flaky fish that's mild in flavor and easy to cook. It's naturally low in mercury, widely available, and an excellent source of lean protein, selenium, and vitamin B12. For older adults, cod is gentle on the stomach, easy to digest, and versatile in the kitchen. You can bake it, grill it, steam it, or poach it. It pairs well with lemon, olive oil, herbs, and vegetables. And because it's not oily, it's a great option for those who prefer a lighter meal but still want plenty of nutrition. Selenium is especially important for thyroid function and immune support, 2 areas that can weaken as we age. Cod delivers this mineral in an easy-to-absorb form, helping to keep your metabolism balanced and your energy steady. Now let's talk about U.S. farmed rainbow trout. Yes, you heard that right, farm. But there's a difference. Rainbow trout raised in the United States are typically farmed in controlled freshwater systems, not overcrowded ocean pens. They're monitored, regulated, and fed a clean diet. As a result, U.S. farm trout are considered one of the safest fish to eat, even for pregnant women and seniors. Rainbow trout is rich in protein, vitamin B12, and omega-3 fatty acids. It has a delicate texture and flavor, making it a favorite for those who don't love fishy fish. And like salmon, trout supports cognitive function, mood stability, and joint lubrication. You can grill it whole, cook fillets in foil packets, or gently pan-fry it with garlic and parsley. It's affordable, accessible, and deeply nourishing. Now, I want to say something from the heart. Choosing safer fish isn't about being paranoid. It's about being empowered. It's about recognizing that every bite is a decision, a vote for your future. Your body has carried you for decades. It has healed broken bones, fought off viruses, survived stress, grief, injury, and change. And now it needs you to protect it, not with expensive pills or extreme diets, but with intentional, nourishing food. That includes fish, but the right fish. So the next time you shop, look past the flashy packaging. Don't fall for vague labels like Atlantic fish or fresh catch. Be deliberate. Ask questions, read country of origin labels, choose wild caught, choose clean, choose smart, and most importantly, trust that your body will respond. When you nourish it well, it will reward you with more energy, sharper memory, healthier joints, deeper sleep, and more joy doing the things you love. You don't need to fear food, you just need to understand it. So here's what I want for you: a life full of energy, clarity, strength, and purpose. A body that supports you, a mind that serves you, a future that feels bright. And it all starts with what sips on your plate,